Alright,
You never saw us.
alright. Hello, everyone. We are timely people, and we don't get on tangents ever. Um, alright, so, to start off, we have our little pre-show announcements, plug, promote, or whatever have you. Uh, anyone is welcome to go around the metaphysical, proverbial, non-existent digital table, if they will.
Hi, I'm Slay, pronouns they, them. I'm a TTRPG performer, so cast me in your TTRPGs. That's my shit.
Uh, I'll go. Hi, I'm Lucas Santana. You can find me usually over on Rule of Lore, on most often on Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific for Ramblemancy, our roundtable style talk show where we just talk about all kinds of nerdy crap with our friends. Um, and this week we didn't have one, so you probably won't be seeing an episode coming out on YouTube. But next week we will be back. So check us out there.
Please do. It's always entertaining when they devolve into chaos, and it truly does
That's
turn into.
literally every moment of every episode.
Oh, but there is special brands of chaos that crop. There's like
That's true.
subcategories that show up. I've seen them. I've watched it. I know what's
I
happening.
mean, I did have Freeman once like come to my house in a ghillie suit and just sort of like wander into the background of my frame. So like that did happen. So there is that.
I
I like how you said, like, yeah, I've seen some shit. Yeah.
it they go places.
We sure do.
All right. Elseways anywhere?
Um, Hi, I'm Risa, Silver Sugar. You can find me on here for games like Pokemon or Animal Crossing, stuff like that. Or you can catch me on Tumblr where I post art or just reblog random shit. Um, please consider commissioning me, and yeah, that's about it.
All right. Perfect. Well, so, and in addition, I kind of made this announcement last week, but um, if we hit the 30 follower mark, we will release our episode 0, where everyone kind of got a feel for the characters a little bit. Um, Truly a wonderful time, sort of a bit of chaos there. Uh, that being said, a couple other things. As an announcement as well is I have finally put the pricing, and they should be shipped sometime within the next few days. I have 10 Rune and Relic D20 dice showing up. If we hit that 50 follower mark, one follower will be able to. We'll do a giveaway of some kind. In addition to that, it'll probably be a two-part giveaway, as I have a deck of playing cards as well showing with the art of our intelligence group within the cards. It'll be a one-time thing. There will not be any other playing cards like them.
So exciting!
With that being the case, if you
Can I
are
put myself up for those cards? I want the cards.
the with that being said, it'll be one of those things where you will have to be present in the chat at the very least for that. If you have, if you are spectating or watching this stream combined, I encourage you to follow through your own Twitch as well, as that helps support us and might eventually, who knows, might reach out and have Twitch game days. That might happen. In addition to that, I am working on my stream schedule. Obviously, there's the Saturday game right here. But in addition to that, we have I will be working on a Monday afternoon kind of chatting stream about anything really, whatever that devolves into. And in addition to that, currently right now, the only game I have for streaming on Wednesdays is Hunt Showdown, which is sometimes I'll be with people, sometimes I'll be jumping into a team match by myself because I'm crazy. But those will be labeled Weird West Wednesdays, and you can follow those roughly later afternoon. But aside from that, I don't know if anyone else has anything to announce.
I can. Sorry, let me
Yeah,
just.
go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm Little Legend, and I am on Tumblr. I also accept commissions. They are really cheap because I'm a starting artist, and I draw a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'm a mature person.
Hey,
My
you know what? Probably did better than the first initial Sonic trailer test. So, but
I was gonna say the same thing.
uh, it's okay. It's okay. We'll never forget that. Um, just know we
okay.
can bully giant multimedia corporations into what we want. Um, all right.
I
I
mean,
suppose.
can we not? Sonic the Hedgehog is dead. Anyway, my God, my Tumblr is Little Legend slash Arts.
All right.
So yeah.
All right. I think this is time for us to jump into the game here as we devolve into something a little crazy.
Just pull
And
on your
we
sleeve
are
and
back. I may have hit the live button while people were talking because I'm a menace. Um,
How dare! Gasp!
horrible person. I can't believe it. Just awful,
it's my job.
awful man.
Um,
Yes, how dare you incite chaos in this, the most orderly of places?
yes, truly. That's every D&D table and every TTRPG table, truly, right?
We can
No,
always make it worse.
I I believe you.
That's team motto. Team motto. We can always make it worse.
Indeed. This is our team name.
Good luck,
Well,
Commander.
We can always make
we did prove
Anyways,
last week that this is Gremlin Crew, so
during the last session, all of the intelligence command crew, having investigated further at G0822, um, did a little bit of digging and found a lot more answers, but also a few more questions added to it. Having a brief confrontation with the Section 31 vessel, the Judicator, commanded by Vincent Tyler, who is played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. through a, I would say, mostly cordial alliance, but at the same time, wary of each other. Commander Jaloran and Captain Tyler had a joint investigation as they continued to figure out what's going on here. Not before, of course, some of the most ridiculous piloting maneuvers were ever done that are
Hey, half of that was your fault.
I I will not admit to nothing. But with that being the case with Kavai,
Did I hear a
and
double negative in there?
you may have, and it may have been intentional. Um, with that being the case, Lieutenant Karabayo and Petty Officer Kavai, with the resources and insights they had, were able to determine that there is a cloaked ship using a deflector of two variations for a more particles of a Romulan vessel. You were able to detect one. Having been detected, it decloaked. It is a large Deuteridex warbird, larger than usual, about 1.5 times the size of a Galaxy-class cruiser. This vessel that stands before you, on both vessels' viewing screens, large, does hold the Deuteridex appearance, but beneath it is, if you were to go on the underside and the top side of the kind of overslung and like dorsal and ventral hulls, you would be able to see a warbird, a bird of prey, like etched and inked on to this hull. The dull kind of like algae green glow being incredibly familiar. Commander Jaloran, as I've stated, the last game, though you had no particular run-ins with her, the USS Ross was made aware of her when they were out by the Shackleton Expanse. You are currently being stared down by this vessel. It has its shields up, and its weapons are not active currently, but its shields are up, and it is in a posture of more offensive than defensive.
And to make it clear that the USS Hypatia is currently at yellow alert.
Yes. Yeah, there's no reason not to be at yellow alert at this point.
Yeah. Are there any hails coming in?
No, Commander, I think they're waiting for us to make some type of move. I think they want to see what we do.
I have real quick. I have a question. So I have a thing with my because being an intelligence officer as my assignment, it says here that once permission, an intelligence officer may create an advantage without requiring a task or spending any resources. This advantage reflects some detail or insight the officer learned in an intelligence report. Is there a way that I can do that right now? Given the intelligence report that myself and Kavai uncovered, not technically a report, but it is information.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I'm not entirely sure, and I was kind of hoping to kind of crowdsource this one because I feel like this is one of those things that I, the player, am not smart enough to come up with, but definitely my character would be.
Right.
That's fair enough.
And any ounce of information that we can have at our disposal is perfect.
Yeah, so if we were to create an advantage in this situation, I think what would be the most useful and what would be the most viable? I guess are two separate questions.
Yeah, but you could mesh them into one.
Sure. So yeah, I was kind of hoping to crowdsource this. So if any of you all have any ideas, I'm open.
Like make it easier to hit, or like a flaw in the like it's a big vessel. Maybe maybe there's a flaw that in this vessel that there isn't in normal Daerodexes because it's bigger than a normal Daerodex.
I was kind of thinking something along those lines. I mean, like we do like I vaguely remember at the end of last session you mentioned that we knew that like it whose this was.
Yeah. Hmm.
So like is there anything that we can use? I mean, I'm not sure how much of an advantage that would be knowing that, but like
But at this point, any sort of flaw in the design of the Daedrex would be useful. Is like even if it's not just a nose to nose fight, but something that you can
sure.
leverage to get away as quickly as possible.
Is there some way that I can like kind of create an advantage maybe by like working with whoever whatever science officer happens to be on the bridge to sort of like maybe do some sort of like shield modulation to basically make it harder for them to like grab put a tractor on us or something like that,
Oh yeah, yeah. There's definitely ways to do that.
or just I don't know, maybe I'm not actually sure. I don't know. I'm kind of just talking out of my ass at this point. So
Well, it kind of depends on what you want out of this. You can look for
I
because
I think what I'd like to do is because I know we don't want to get into a drag out fight with this thing, so maybe just what anything that I can give us a little bit more survivability in case it comes to that and we need to like make a quick exit.
Okay. Um, with a vessel of this size, you are aware of how Romulan vessels work, in which they use a singularity core
Mm-hmm.
that has no negative effects that will affect a binary star system in the very near future at all. Um, however, a vessel of this size doesn't. It probably uses a much larger singularity core. That in itself, a Daedalus class warbird is designed in a very particular way, in which the centermost of it is hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in a drag out fight with this is probably pretty terrible. Um, however, to avoid such a potential fight, the Hypatia, being a Nova class vessel, is an incredibly small vessel. If it comes down to it, the Hypatia could, if there is some fancy flying of probably ridiculously difficult nature, could
Hello.
be could maneuver itself within the center area of the Stadirodex and could probably use the gravimetric singularity core as sort of a magnet for the Hypatia, and it could just almost act parasitic and just be within the center of it, out of the line of fire. Now that poses its own negativity, as you can't really do anything either, but it would put both ships at a stalemate.
And we have the
Uh,
sovereign on our side.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that sounds incredible because it sounds like the best way to sort of level things out for both sides. So I think I'm just gonna like immediately suggest this to the commander.
And then she's gonna quirk an eyebrow at Captain Tyler, see what he thinks of this idea. He knows how crazy this Karoo can be.
I will probably have to beam back to the Judicator to enact such a batshit crazy plan because this is a 1 in 100 chance of success, maybe.
I knew you'd like it.
Do you think you can find your way to talk her down if you can get the hailing channel open.
I can
Once you're back on
make
your own
the
ship.
attempt. At the very least, it'll give us a little bit of, if anything, a bit of time.
It does indeed.
Good luck, Commander. I can find my way back to the transporter room. It wasn't exactly... It's not a Yorktown mall. I'll find it.
We'll see you on the other side, Captain.
Doesn't really say anything. Kind of just nods and walks off the bridge in a very Jeffrey Dean Morgan way. As the ensign at the con. The captain is aboard the adjudicator now.
Switch to red alert, Ensign.
Oh, we're actually... Okay. The
Commander Hahn?
switch it to the red alert, and that very distinct, like, intrepid sovereign class red alert sequence goes off.
Yes, Commander?
Take the helm.
Yes, Commander.
The chair slides out as the ensign excuses themselves and goes to a... off to the side of the bridge, a more navigational station.
So I'm putting us in that spot now?
You're gonna try.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright. This sounds...
Let's see if we can surprise the Romulans for once.
Do we have any momentum?
We do not.
Okay.
Brand new scene. Brand new game, brand new scene.
You're always giving me the easy rolls, Commander.
This is going to be... We're gonna rate this as a daring con because this is a harebrained idea that is kind of risky. So this is going
can I
to
argue
be...
control because it requires precision?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Yes!
With that being said, it'll be... Fine, it'll be control and con, but it is going to be a difficulty of 3, and I am spending half the threat right now.
So where's my complication range? Because I can't do that math in my head right now.
You've got your focus piloting coming into play too, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The complication range is quite literally if it is 15 or higher, there will be a complication.
Okay.
Not to be one note here, but may I basically do the same thing I did last time and burn a determination for like spirit of discovery? Like, I want to know what's going on here, and the best way that I can imagine doing that is to put ourselves right where we're going right now. And can I do that and give us a 3 boost to our momentum pool?
Yes, you may.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
I'm using one of those momentum.
Go for it.
And I'm looking up something real quick. Where is my...
Alright, I rolled. Do you want to hear my results?
Yes, I do.
I got a 4, an 8, and a 6, and another success. So it's 4 successes.
4 successes out of a 3, so that's 1 momentum then.
Woo!
Okay, so you are at 1 momentum. Alright. With that being the case, obviously, a vessel like this is not going to just let you do that.
Yeah.
This Romulan vessel starts firing off disruptor rays, and you are ducking and weaving, and they are scraping against your shields. You do feel that slight jolt and rock as your shields hit, and you can see Commander Hone, you can see the kind of at the console, you watch the shields go from 100% to 67%, and then a second hit knocks it down to 40. But you are able to, as kind of barreling through and weaving past these pulsed disruptor fires, and then everyone on the crew can feel this shaking a bit, and those that aren't, at the view screen watching this, you can only feel it and can only guess what's happening. As you feel the ship getting rocked and getting scraped on the shields, and slight bits of inertia forcing your body left or right. And then it goes very quiet and still.
In position, Commander.
Very good. She turns to whoever's at comms. Send a burst to Captain Tyler that we're in place.
Yes, Commander. They send out a response very quickly. The adjudicator is hailing us, Commander.
Open comms.
Captain Tyler is kind of very much in this relaxed stance of arrogant bravado. I'll be damn, I did not see you succeed in that.
I have an excellent pilot at the helm.
So it would
Kate
seem.
just like smirks, not subtly, just smirks.
Well, I do believe we've gotten our guest's attention. I have a hail coming through. Would you like to make this a conference call, Commander?
Not just yet, but we would like to listen in.
Commander Brescia. Yes, Captain. Let them see what we see. As they are able to transfer their screen over, as you can kind of see the view screen, and you can see Sela, and she looks particularly in her particular way that you've kind of read and have heard about. She is annoyed isn't the correct term. Put off also isn't either. She's
Peeved?
Yeah, that's a better one. She's definitely peeved. As Captain Tyler takes a deep breath and looks towards her. So, Commander Sela, to what do we owe the great pleasure of you invading the Alpha Quadrant near the Sol System? To you, its Admiral. Well, I certainly don't see a flotilla or a fleet, so you'll forgive me if titles don't mean much from you. She narrows her eyes and... What do you think is going to happen here, Captain? Your vessel is very creative, having your supporting vessel create a sort of stalemate. Either way, you are outmatched and outgunned. Man of Russia, are my star maps wrong? Are we not in Federation space? No, Captain. I failed to... I think you and I have a particular uh, nah, screw it. I don't like you at all. You are in Federation space. You are breaking a whole number of treaties. So I think I'm gonna ask you this request exactly once. Leave the star system and go back to the Beta Quadrant. Go wreak havoc there. Become someone else's problem. I find you to be a mighty fine headache. Captain, even with this... The Sealer is immediately interrupted by Captain Tyler just laughing up a kind of a chuckling storm a little bit. As on the Hypatia, some of the several ensigns kind of look over to you, Commander. What the fuck is he doing? I'm so sorry. Admiral Sealer, was it? I cannot take you seriously. You are sporting a Romulan haircut from the 2370s.
Commander, the captain clearly does not know how to negotiate.
Yeah, I was going to say that's certainly a tactic.
Joran's just smirking. She's got a pretty decent idea what he's up to.
So, at this point, Admiral Sealer, the only course of action I will accept is your departure from the Sol system and its neighboring systems, or we can take you in for a whole number of different offenses, and I will accept your unconditional and immediate surrender. And what leg do you have to stand on for a surrender, Captain, from me? Did she not just pay attention that there is a Federation vessel inside this warbird?
If need to, I could probably land this ship on it.
Tate's getting ready.
Well then, I'll give you 1 hour to consider however you would like to surrender. The view screen switches off and enlarges back on to Captain Tyler for the Hypatia. Alright, she's thoroughly irritated at this point, so hopefully that'll create a little bit of tension amongst the crew there.
Nicely done, Captain Tyler. I think we might get along better than I think.
I will disappoint you yet, don't worry about it.
So while we're sitting cozy, let's see what other advantages we can create. Do you have any ideas, Captain?
I don't particularly have much myself. I could send out a call for reinforcements, but that causes its own form of complication, Commander. We are Starfleet, but sending out a distress and a request for help from a vessel such as mine creates tension.
I imagine the USS Hypatia could do that. She nods over at the ensign.
Yeah. Sure.
Try to put it on
Recommendation.
one of the. Try to put it on one of the more discreet channels.
Recommendation, Commander, is that if we're going to be hailing for reinforcements, they might try the same thing. I recommend that, however we are able, we jam their communications.
Indeed. I kind of figured that would be obvious. But I also figure any reinforcements may be a little hesitant since they are in Federation space. So Sela has overstepped her bounds a bit. So reinforcements may be hesitant in arriving. So we have a slight advantage there.
The other thing that you as a crew know is you are 26 hours away from the Sol system. That means there's a lot of Federation ships nearby, as opposed to Romulan vessels, which are generally located out in the Beta Quadrant area. You will, or if there are some in the Alpha Quadrant, they will not be this close. Sela's playing a pretty risky game by being this close to Earth specifically, which violates a lot of treaties, actually.
She is really deep in Federation space.
Yeah. That's fair, but it also means that she has more to lose from us being, intact than from us not being that way. So I don't know. I'm just saying as our sort of as an intelligence as a security officer, my recommendation is that we cover all of our bases.
Yeah, understandable. And it is also one of the reasons why we pulled off such a risky maneuver to begin with, and to increase our chances of remaining in one piece.
Exactly.
But it's as far as an intelligence vessel goes, Commander's DeLorean's assumption is standard practice would be to jam prior to sending out any sort of signal. Even though the USS Hypatia's main cover is we're just a typical Starfleet vessel. Nobody looking at us realizes we're Starfleet intelligence.
Yeah,
that's one of our tricks up our sleeve. And it's also one of the reasons why it'd be better that that signal for rescue would be better coming from the Hypatia, because nobody else knows that we're intelligence, so there's less tension there to respond to the Hypatia.
Right.
But any other suggestions for things that we can do while we're sitting nice and cozy with this Romulan?
I'm trying to think of something.
You could tell Mira what's going on. That's always an option.
Once the red alert, even once the yellow alert went into effect, the CMO would be getting a feed already.
Yeah, and by extension, you would as well. So.
Yeah.
Because you are in
a potential
battle scenario.
Oh. Would I be allowed to leave the medical?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Where are you headed?
Well, to the bridge, or just gonna walk around it at the very least. She is extremely curious what's gonna happen to the entire ship and to her, so she's just there. She's kind of she's not exactly sure if she's allowed to be there,
Yeah, I mean,
particularly.
you're new to this, and looking outside, like any passing windows, one of the weirdest things you will see is you're not orbiting a planet. You are inside of a ship orbiting a planet, staring down a sovereign class vessel.
So that's
You
fun.
have a little bit of a Russian nesting doll situation happening here with your ship.
Delightful. Go out, see the sights, they say. And then the sights is just the inside of the ship, apparently.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's basically she's just gonna leave the med bay, walk towards the bridge, and just try and not exactly get involved, but kind of try to stay around there,
Yeah. Okay.
just in case.
Yeah.
Plus, she is rather confident in her physical abilities, so just in case there might be needing a few more hands,
Mhm.
combat wise.
Yeah. The the first go around, you never really had the time to really appreciate the bridge, but the bridge is it's not the largest, like, as far as like data pads that you've seen in holographic simulations. It's not the largest bridge, but in this moment it is pretty large. That being the case and everything happening here, there is that tense moment of like communicating different vessels, and actually, the closest vessel is one that I believe. Let me double check really quick. Yes, the closest vessel that you could request any sort of help from is a vessel that is has the registry number. Where is it? This is what happens when you have 18,000 different notes up. Um, Registry number is NCC 90281. It is an Obina class vessel, and it is known as the USS Avalon. And it is only about a little less than 2 light years away. So it could definitely get there relatively quick.
It is a request for an assist, so yeah, it'd be great if they could come by and make the impression that more are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
On the subject of creating more advantages, I recognize that Kabai isn't any sort of senior science officer, but I do believe she does have a rather unorthodox approach to certain things, might see things we don't.
Mm-hmm.
you and I are on the same wavelength. I was just about to ask to put Kavai to work here. I just wasn't sure what to have them work on.
Mhm.
But in the vein of trying to create some sort of advantage, particularly now that we're sitting in the middle of a Digirdex.
Mm-hmm.
For that matter, I believe, I don't think Kavai's ever been on a vessel that's in red alert before.
No.
So you have your hands full. We get a lovely little shot of Kavai underneath their desk, just panic-stricken.
Oh,
So before we get Kavai's help, Lieutenant is going to need to convince Kavai that everything is okay, and then give them a distraction that will keep them very occupied.
Should I permission to leave the bridge, Commander? I think an in-person approach might be a little bit more effective in this case.
I don't think you ever came to the bridge. You've been communicating. At the end of last session, you were still in the science lab with Kavai.
I was pretty sure we were on the bridge by that point, because like I thought I was. I was pretty sure I was.
I think so. If very briefly mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
But
because I thought we were still talking over comms.
no.
Oh no. That yeah.
Because I remember at one point you asked me if the
Oh wait,
comm
you might
channel
be
was
right.
still open.
You
Oh,
you
you
might
know
be
what?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the comm
actually,
channel was still open. You
no,
never
you're right.
actually
So like
left the science lab. Yeah.
so I am actually physically present here with Kavai and only just now noticing that they're like under a desk.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
They need a
distraction bad.
not
fun for
I mean-
you.
I mean, that's the point of being under the desk. You're trying not to get noticed, so it
Yup.
works.
Yep.
I'll like look around for the first time noticing that Kavai isn't where they were before, and I'll just look and think, oh, I'll kind of crouch down and be like,
You
We're gonna be
immediately get
Mhm.
just this wave of complete and utter fear, panic, a sense of not knowing what to do, and it just reeks off of
Who-
them.
question for you, GM. How am I doing with that?
We're going to find out actually. So
Oops.
that this for you, I think, is gonna be a presence command, and it's just gonna be a difficulty of 1 here. But
Oh, good. Well, it's not my lowest roll, but it's close. I'm just gonna roll it straight because I think that's. Yep. Ooh, okay, that is 1 success.
okay, you're good. It is intense. There is certain bits of Kavai's biology that really can affect you, but you were able to
Mhm.
push past it. Perhaps this isn't your first time dealing with something like this. Starfleet is very diversified at this point, but for the most part, for you, it's something you may have had to deal with in the past at least once, but it's not to say that it hasn't affected you a little bit. It definitely has. You're just able to overcome that.
Yeah, I just sort of like grip my teeth and just sort of shake my head a little bit and just I'll like crouch down. I'll try to get like eye contact with Kavai and say, "Hey, we're gonna be okay. I'm gonna need you to pull it together just a little bit. I have a problem for you to solve."
Okay.
I just sort of like gently, just sort of like not in any sort of like insistent or demanding way, but I just sort of hold out a hand. Say, Come on.
They will look at your hand, and she almost puts her hand out like on instinct, but then immediately thinks better of it and pulls herself up on her own.
Okay. I'll kind of step back and give you space. Say,
And she's shaking like a leaf.
say, right now we are in arguably the safest place we could be right now. Okay, we're gonna be okay, but I need your help. Right now, I want to make sure that everybody on this ship is safe, and the best way that we can do that is if you can figure out some way to give us some kind of advantage. Right now, we're sitting right in the middle of a Derrida class warbird. As terrifying as that sounds, this is, I assure you, the safest place we could be in the vicinity of a warbird. But I want to find some way to give us an advantage here, to give us the upper hand if we need to fight or if we need to run. You think you can help me out with that?
Yes, I can help.
Okay. Let me know whatever you need. I'm right here. And I'm no slouch with some engineering. So if you need help with anything, just let me know what you need.
Understood. I'm gonna take this from a de-escalation stance.
Okay.
What do I know about Romulans?
So, currently, this is a lot. I'll give you a lot of common knowledge. Anything you want to delve deeper in, we might have to make a roll. But for the most part,
Mhm.
Romulans are considered kind of the opposite of Vulcans, whereas Vulcans are much into the aspect of logic and uh, pacifism and all of that. Romulans are aggressive. They are passionate. They have a incredible like of anything AI. Um, like they dislike that entirely. The the Singularity Corps currently there is a Romulan evacuation effort commanded by Admiral Jean-Luc Picard and the USS Verity to get as many Romulans off the Romulan homeworld as possible before the star goes supernova and destroys both Romulus and Remus, and that has roughly the time frame of 1-ish years, maybe, before that happens. It's at critical point.
That's terrifying. Do I have any idea of what sympathies could be played?
I do have a thought. It's like
Please?
because I've been mulling over this, and it might play nicely into Kavai's strengths of hacking. Any way that they can slice into the Deirdrex's systems and disrupt things. It's like it doesn't even have to be anything in specific, but just start wreaking havoc on their systems. It was like creating like ghost sensor readings. Things are blipping in and out. It's like and like creating problems that they can't trace down.
I could certainly give it a try.
Ooh. I actually have a way of maybe adding into that. Like I do like the idea of giving them like a whole bunch of different things to focus on, but I think this might be like an in character thing. Like as like Kavai starts working, I'll say we're in the process of calling for assistance from nearby ships. But is there any way to make them that while you're in their systems, is there any way you can make them think that some of those are already here? Trick their sensors?
I could give that a shot. It's a little tricky. It would be easier if I were over there, but no.
Where we're sitting as close as you can get.
I mean, and pardon me if I'm being a little bit uneducated. Some of us could sneak out and do stuff, or are we just? Is it absolutely not possible?
It's possible. The risk factor increases exponentially if you currently are within the ship's like center area around the hull. There is the possibility of going aboard a Deuterics class warbird. However, the risk factor increases exponentially.
Well, obviously.
A
Uh,
Deuterics class warbird, a typical Deuterics class warbird, has a crew of 5,600.
Yeah,
well,
you're not sneaking through that
Something
place.
this size has a crew of about 7,800 to 8,000.
Yeah, you're
But
not
your
sneaking
first
through.
hurdle is going to be getting your commander's approval to do it. And that's going to be worse than any Romulan you're going to run up against.
I mean, it's an
Oh,
interesting thought.
Mom,
'Cause,
come on. I just want to get out into,
I
into
mean,
the giant ship.
there's nothing saying we have to be aboard the inside of the ship.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Is like we're as close as we can get. Um, so it's like that gives us some advantage. Um,
I think I can do this. Just sneak out, do something of use, sneak in.
I think infiltrations may be off the table in this situation, not just from the permission standpoint, but also from the just feasibility. I think
yeah,
there's too much. Yeah,
there'd be an EV suit involved, and
It would
like
be
Yeah.
you'd
suicidal.
need to have had training. It is like it's going to take more than an hour to accomplish that.
But as far as wreaking havoc on their systems, you are more than welcome to give that a try, which I believe that is a reason and probably science would be my guess. Just because it's working with computers
Alrighty.
and such.
and may I assist
Yes, you may.
Kavai in this instance?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Can I use in that case hang on. I'm still learning the mechanics. I've got collaboration science and cautious science.
Mhm.
Are either let's see.
So cautious science will let you re-roll a die if
Okay.
something doesn't go right.
If you use a momentum.
Yeah.
Which we have 3 currently, because Slay used 1, and then we got 1 back from that same roll. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got that on deck if I need it.
This will be a difficulty of 2.
Okay. Good to know. And I've got 2 dice, right? So
Yep.
If you use a momentum, you'll have 3.
should I do that?
If you want
That,
to
I
activate
believe-
cautious,
yeah.
All right, let's do that.
And then Joe, for my assist roll, what am I using here?
1d20.
Well, no, but which
Oh,
stats?
yeah. For you, probably insight security, only because
Okay.
there's systems that
Sure.
stop stuff like this.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay, and you said reason science?
Yep.
So that's 15 for me. I rolled a 15, a 14, and a 7.
Nice. And I also another success from
Okay,
me.
that's 3. So
4 successes, we get 2
4 successes,
momentum.
so 2 momentum. Perfect. Okay.
So we're at 5, I believe, or 4. No, 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah, it's 4. All right.
Oof, I'm glad it's me to beat it.
Yeah, the moving through, and you were able to actually reasonably, Alec, you're realizing having Kavai do this is probably the easiest person to kind of mess with those systems, only because Kavai has Vulcan heritage. Vulcan and Romulan language is very similar. So they're able to kind of do.
And I've studied them before.
Yeah,
I
they
had to take it.
and going through. It's not any major systems. It's little things like.
She deliberately takes channels that are used for like media or entertainment. She takes channels that wouldn't be as guarded.
Okay, and just
I also think that anytime if I ever start feeling like Kavai's focus going back to our situation, which I'm certain that I would like feel.
Oh, immediately.
Anytime I start to feel it start to sway in that direction, I immediately just start asking, like, okay, so what is it? What are you doing right now? And like having Kavai explain it to me to basically like refocus them onto the task.
Mm-hmm.
I think that works really well.
As you were able to do that up on the bridge, there's a slight detection on the bridge as Tate, you're the first one to notice this being at the con station. There is a power fluctuation in the Daedalus warbird. Not huge. It's not a huge power fluctuation. It's like maybe 6% of its power has been drained. But 6% is also pretty... pretty non-noticeable when it comes to a vessel like this. With that being the case, I think actually Alec and Kavai, you were the first ones to see this, as given there's been about 20 minutes of time in between this hour, and clearly Zila is not willing to wait, as there is a volley of photon torpedoes launched. And they are not launched at the Judicator.
Oh, here it comes.
They enter the
Incoming.
atmosphere.
Oh, that's not good.
The Judicator, from what you can see on scanners, is able to disrupt 4 of them with their phasers. However, the last one does make it through, and there's just no way to reasonably stop it.
Oh, Kavai absolutely, like, clamps their hands over their mouth and just horror.
As Tate, you can see this, the Warbird is charging up another volley.
Charging up another volley, Commander.
This is Sila's answer. She is aware that she could very much lose this situation, but she is in that scorched earth mode at this point.
Want me to fire phasers inside the Warbird?
I want you to do. She's gonna make sure that Kavai and Lieutenant Caraballo can hear this in the science. I want you to do everything to disrupt their weapons. Shut them down.
Aye, Commander.
Okay. I'll look to Kavai and I say, I think right now I see 2 viable options, right? Either we boost our own targeting systems and so that we can shoot those torpedoes down once they launch, but I think the better option is to prevent them from launching altogether. Do you think you can do that?
Absolutely not confident, but she
Already in the system, it's
sort
just a
of,
matter
like,
of finding it.
numbly nods.
Yeah, and I think I'll just repeat that. I'm just going to say, you're already in there. It's just a short jump to their weapon systems. It doesn't need to be pretty. It just needs to be effective.
Understood. I
There is the computer, in this sense, as far as a computer, like automated computer system, generally very helpful. In this case, for you, Alec, it is almost working against you, as it is narrating every event about to occur here.
So sorry, say that again. I'm not. I
So
wasn't.
the automated computer is, weapons charging, firing in X amount of time. It's knowing what's about to happen, and that's kind of undermining what you're trying to do to help Kavai a little bit here.
Sure. I'm just going to say, computer, disable vocal updates.
Confirmed. And then they just shut off. But that being the case, this is going to be not reason, this is going to be insight science, because you're there now. Now you just have to allocate the system.
Alright.
This is going to be a difficulty of 4.
Take a momentum.
Yep. Because this is, Romulans are very protective of systems like this, so.
Yep.
And do you have a determination you could spend?
I believe they do, yeah.
Can the ship help at all?
The ship should be able to help here, yeah.
How does determination work one more time?
So you can spend a point of determination and use one of your values and essentially get successes. So, if I remember correctly, burning a point of determination gives you 2 successes. You just have to have a
Okay.
value that.
Well,
That matches up. Yeah.
I'll definitely do that, and my value is I avoid confrontation.
This works, yeah.
She looks for all the world like completely unconfident in what she's doing. And Alec, you would get a word vomit off the cuff. I don't even know what weapon systems look like. I'm not trained in this. Like just a complete like panic, but she's still working towards it.
Okay.
And
Alec's
okay.
security training would work perfect there, and as far as helping guide her towards it's looks like this and that kind of
Yep.
sort of thing.
Absolutely. I think yeah.
Okay.
I was pretty sure that there's a 5 die limit, I believe, right? And I think if we've got the ship, I guess I could momentum. I guess I can assist. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess
can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Cool.
we would hit that 5.
Yep.
All right. So what's the roll for me here?
Let me double check.
Is it going to be an insight security?
Yes, insight security here.
Okay.
And for the
That's a
ship,
success.
For the ship, I think this is probably a computer science roll here.
Remind me what my role was again. I'm so sorry.
Insight
I think you
science.
said
Okay, still the same number. So 14 and a 9 for mine. And
Plus
with
2 successes from determination, that's
Yep.
4.
Yep.
Plus the 5th from Alec.
Mhm.
And a ship?
hold on. 3 from the ship.
Okay.
Whew.
6 successes.
Successes. That's 2 more momentum. As
5 momentum.
as Kva, you kind of go on this rant, and are you're looking at you on one kind of computer screen, you have all the programs from the Hypatia, and you're looking through and shifting through all the digital programming from this Daenerys Warbird, and as you're going through this rant, and eventually there's just a quick, confirmation click, and things seem to have stopped, like the weapon charging for the Warbird has ceased. You're pretty confident it's not going to last very long, but it has, for the time being, stopped.
Oh.
Good work, Chief.
She just goes completely silent, stares open-mouthed at the monitor, looks back at you, looks back at the monitor, and she's like, I think... Holy shit.
I'll just say, Commander, we've stopped it for now, but no way of telling how long it's going to last.
Good work, you two. Keep an eye on that situation. Let's make sure they keep that muzzle on.
There is nope, continue.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say, is there any way... I mean, we're already in their weapon systems, and Kavai already... is there any way of combining Kavai's 2 previous successes here and basically, being more focused with, disruptions to, maybe a weapon guidance system?
Yeah, probably. with the weapon guidance, and Romulan vessels are a little bit stranger and
Sure.
truly more advanced in some aspects of the Federation. It Some of the firing techniques are very manually done.
Mm,
However,
gotcha.
there is the torpedoes. You can't really do anything about. The disruptor rays you can. Disruptors can have a feedback effect.
Hmm.
However, with the armaments of this vessel, if you create a feedback loop with the disruptor beams here, you will have to leave this vessel very, very fast. It probably won't
Yeah.
destroy this vessel, but it will disable it, and being caught in the middle of it is probably not a good thing.
I think Alec does that quick assessment, and is like talking all of this out loud, just sort of like running through it, and then looks at Kavai for a moment, like not really like looking at you, but just sort of thinking, and just going, Chief, set it up. I don't want to have to use it, but if it comes down to it, we may have to.
Yeah, okay. Um, with that setting up, on the bridge there is a hail from the Judicator, which uh, less arrogant stance, much more just tired now, is Captain Tyler. Well, Commander, it seems she was not willing to wait the hour.
It doesn't seem so. We've put a muzzle on her for now, but we're gonna need to act quickly.
I I can make a couple strafes runs, maybe damage shields if I can. A little risky with you being in the middle of it all.
I believe our pilot is up to the challenge if we need to make a quick getaway.
Right. If it comes down to it, Commander, and the torpedo volleys do start again, I want you to know, and this is not me trying to push off a duty onto you, but your vessel is the only one capable of atmospheric flight.
We're aware. We've also got a plan B in the works too. So let's hope it doesn't get to that point.
Well, let's... Good luck, Commander. Hold on, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. The comm cuts. And then you can feel the ship shake a little bit as you are being in the middle of this vessel. You are feeling every hit the Judicator is delivering onto this vessel.
She knows she doesn't even have to look at Tate to be sure that they're ready.
Oh yeah, Tate is very focused. Tate doesn't even seem to be aware of everything around them. They're just focused on what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. As this continues, as this assault, and being in the middle of it all, you're all feeling this type of conflict happen at each shot and though they're not targeting you at this stage, you can feel each impact. And the computer is doing just off to the side calculation of the impact of the one torpedo that got away. Wasn't one of the larger towns. It was a city structure that it was targeted, and it shows on the computer an estimated damage outlook, and the equivalent of about 12 city blocks got wiped out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, photon torpedoes are mean. Um, So, with that knowledge, what are you wishing to do?
Jaloran opens comms back up to the science lab. Lieutenant, Petty Officer, tell me you've got a plan B ready?
We do, Commander, although it's not pretty for us if we need to use it. But I believe the Petty Officer and I can rig up a feedback pulse in their disruptor weapons. It'll cause sort of mostly superficial damage to them, but enough that it'll pretty severely disable their ship, but it will put us in a significant amount of danger. You'll understand why this is kind of our last ditch option here.
I understand completely, but we may need to use it.
Understood, Commander. Standing by on your order.
The little bit that you can see from the Judicator and this Daedalus Warbird that are going at it, exchanging tiny bits of fire here and there. They're both really powerful vessels with very strong weapon capabilities, and it is one of those things where, like, their shields are impressive, their weapons are impressive, and no one's really getting anywhere. It's kind of like the battle between two Civil War Ironside vessels. It just went nowhere. It's going somewhere, but not fast.
Can we create a ghost and make it appear as if some help has already arrived? Or like they've arrived earlier than expected?
Potentially. That would require a roll of sorts.
Trying to make use of the havoc that Kavai has already wreaked on their systems.
This is... that would be a present science roll. Weird roll, but it's the only one that makes sense. That would be like present science difficulty 3 to whomever wishes to attempt something like that.
Oof.
Would that be me since I'm already in their system?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Present science difficulty 3.
Alright, I would have to buy a guy.
Well, good news for you. You got plenty of momentum.
So much momentum.
Oh, yes.
Alright.
May I
Lord...
assist? Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, it's like my present science is 14 combined. So Jalord could pop over to a console and provide an assist from the bridge.
Yeah, because I've
Probably
only got
better.
13.
I've got 11, so
Jalaran also has computers as a focus and computer expertise as a talent.
So maybe you lead and someone else assists?
Commander leads and Kavai sounds like it.
Yeah,
For me.
that might work. I feel like it's one of those things where Jaloran kind of says it, Kavai goes to enact it, and it's kind of like one of those Janeway Taurus things where they both kind of connect the dots at the same time, like, oh wait, we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And it's like we're programming in a ghost, in a way, so I could use computer expertise. So that gives me a bonus d20, so that gives me 3 right there.
Yep.
And then focus
And would a ship's computer be assisting you?
Yes.
Because I'll be at a computer console.
Yeah.
So somebody else would need to roll for the ship's computer.
I don't have
What's the
stats.
number? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. You're. I think it makes more sense for you to roll for the ship.
Okay, what's the number I'm rolling for? Because I don't have the stats in front of me.
Yeah, I have to bring them up again here. 1 second.
Be computer science, right?
Yeah.
That'd be a 13.
Success from the ship.
All right.
Remind me what a focus does again. That's
A focus
That increases
will
your crit range.
yeah, it increases your crit range. If you land on a discipline for your roll, then anything that or lower for the discipline will consider it as 2 successes instead of 1.
two 1s and a 6.
The fuck? Okay.
That's a total of 6 successes, including the one from the ship.
Yeah.
Well, we're full up on momentum,
Yeah,
right?
but we want to take a look at 2, because I think Kavai has yet to roll still, right?
Yeah, let's see. 12 on the die.
We got 7 successes.
Wow.
Which
That was
means we have
we have
extra.
a full momentum pool.
Yeah, we have. It's all full.
We blasted that difficulty away.
Yeah, why not? All right. As you were able to do that, the vessel, you can get scanners, Commander Hunt, as you can see, as it is allocating resources and is beginning to fire disruptor pulses at what you know to be nothing.
And it's such a high success. I would like to say that like they managed to ghost in 2 ships, not just one.
I think that's reasonable. Probably not larger vessels, but definitely anything mid-range, depending on what like class signature you want to give these ghosts. Yeah, I wasn't gonna let you just say two.
My brain. Yeah, my brain just spaced on what is mid range. She wouldn't aim for anything much bigger than
Would it be like
Nova.
Nova? That's what I was going to say. Nova.
Yeah,
Nova, like,
like
Steam Runner or
probably
something like that.
yeah, probably another Nova and a Steam Runner. So
Okay. This Deuterix is firing wildly into nothing, really.
suddenly behaving very confused.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a dog like that once. But the vessel is continue, and then as it's allocating systems, you watch Kavai and Alec. You're the first ones to notice that the weapon systems on it, specifically the torpedo weapons, are back online.
We should probably implement Plan B now. I'm ready to get us out of here. Just give me the word.
Yeah, I'll just say, Commander, the weapon systems are back online. It's now or never.
She stares down Tate and gives the order. Do it.
Okay. I will take whatever programming Kovai has set up, and I'll just activate it.
Okay. So.
And she's gonna rely on Tate's hair trigger instincts.
This is one of these things where I am going to do something that is part of intelligence. The standard difficulty rating is generally 1 through 5. However, in much more strenuous situations, the difficulty can be higher.
Oof.
This is one of these situations. Am I potentially pulling an Eric Campbell? Maybe. This one is going to be, and you can all allocate whatever resources you find necessary for this, but this is going to be a difficulty 6 roll. On top of that, the other half of the threat is being spent here. So this is oh jeez, no, don't. Okay, dice almost escaped. For that being the case, this will probably be for Tate here. This is going to be. Continue.
I'm gonna pull Jaloran's advisor talent.
Okay.
So that's whenever an assist another character using your command discipline, character being assisted may re-roll 1d20. So if that comes into play.
Alright. Then here's the other thing. This is going to be a control. No. No, this is one of these instances where it's going to be a daring con roll for Tate, because this is all
batshit
kinds of
crazy.
risk.
Yeah,
This is
there's
batshit crazy.
So this is daring
No-
con
no time for
difficulty
precision.
6.
yeah.
All right. I'm going to spend a determination. The people must be protected at all costs.
Okay.
So that's 2 successes right there.
That's perfect.
I'm going to spend momentum for a third die.
Okay.
Should I spend down 2 more for another die, or is that going too far?
We've got it.
All right, I'll spend 2 more down. So that's 4 die total.
Mm-hmm.
In order for advisor to activate, would Jaloran also need to roll?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's 5. That's the 5 right there.
Yes.
And Jaloran would be rolling.
For advisor, I would say presence command. In addition to that, I want, for whomever is doing this, I very specifically would like to know as well. Let me know if any of you roll a 15 or higher. Whether or not you succeed, the complication can still happen.
3 from Jaloran.
Okay?
All right, so determination gives me 2.
Yep.
I rolled a 1, a 3, an 11, and a 7.
All right.
So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes from me.
Okay. It is
Blasted another difficulty away.
it is one of those events
This is
where
what Tate is built for.
the feedback happens, and you can almost feel the hull of the ship being stretched a little, as the gravimetric core has been strained a little bit through this, and you are having to, generally going from a complete stop to full impulse, not advised. In this case, kind of has to happen. As you are able to escape the vicinity as the ship is experiencing micro explosions all over it, as the lights on it kind of dull. Right around this time, the Judicator ceases its volley, and in addition to that, a Obina-class vessel drops out of warp. However, before we get to any scenes there, I do believe we should do a bit of peopling and take our 10. Because that's important. Peopling is important, and for people watching, please, we encourage it.
Time to take a break.
welcome back. We are 2 for 2 in actually being somewhat on time with our breaks, which is strange. The Twitch deity will punish us for this eventually, more than likely. But continuing off of and jumping back into the game, we left off with the Sealer's vessel being disabled and the Adjudicator, the Hypatia, and now an Obina class vessel dropping out of warp. As you are all three vessels are kind of on one side of this vessel, as the Obina class is on another side, kind of in a semi-flanking position. Actually, I think, Alec, this would be the first time you would like see it come up on like the immediate scanners as the USS Avalon, which you were aware of at least one crew member aboard.
Yeah. I won't say anything right away. I'll just I'm still in the process of making sure, in the wake of everything that just happened, that like Kavai is okay. And just like making sure, like, okay, hey, we made it. We made it.
Right. We did that. We did that.
I mean, honestly, you did most of it.
I honestly have no idea how.
I just I'll stand up and just give Kavai just like a quick little clap on the shoulder and say, well,
the moment you make physical contact with her, you get a sense of almost like static in your head, and you get her surface thoughts of, I'm not supposed to be here, they're gonna find out I'm a fraud, I can't believe I just did that, this is impossible, and just everything she's like actively afraid of.
Alex sort of hesitates in the middle of what he's saying, but recovers pretty quickly and just goes, take a rest while you can get it.
She looks at you in abject horror and actively takes a step back from you.
I think Alex ML right now is just, he's going to just sort of smile and leave as if nothing happened.
I'm gonna find the nearest receptacle and yak into it.
Okay.
And I'll just be heading back up to the bridge.
He is going to walk in on Jaloran snapping out a command status report. And that's just, like, in general to the entire bridge. She wants to know overall status of what's going on.
Yeah. With that being the case, and looking at the Romulan vessel is disabled currently. It's not heavily disabled for the most part. It probably can on its own power, though it would be at low warp. If it chooses to, it could warp out of this star system. However,
the other half of the status report she wants to know is what condition is the Hypatia in?
The Hypatia overall is of course, there it is. But the Hypatia overall, minimal damage. There's damage to shielding, but overall, not too bad.
And what status is the Judicator in?
The Judicator,
as far as we can tell.
the Judicator, from what you can tell, relatively relatively unharmed, but that may have to do with the fact that it's got tech that you just don't have access to.
Yeah. So it's like just slight signs that they were in a fight, but
Yeah.
nothing
Like
too
there was
bad.
some burn marks and such, but those can easily be dealt with.
Buffed out. Yeah.
Um, but there is a hail coming through from the USS Avalon.
On screen.
There is a older, what looks to be a hard to say, probably a Trill individual, though definitely more gruff. If I were to cast such an individual like this, probably Jeff Bridges. Um, as
Nice.
kind of the command Reds. Obviously, with the Obina, they're a little bit behind on their uniforms as they are the more militant gray with the like division collar and coloring undershirt.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of leans forward and stands up. Well, you two. What seems to be the situation aside from the glaringly obvious?
Well, our interloper here just recently fired off a volley of torpedoes. One of them did impact the surface of the planet. We're still assessing damage down there, and what we can do to help from afar, if anything.
Well, I suppose the two of you should thankfully, the Avalon is a diplomatic ship of more. It's a diplomatic vessel for more strenuous times and situations, and seeing as, from what I can gather, I believe at this point the Prime Directive has been violated on this planet.
We would be very grateful if you would take the lead on that.
Well, I don't understand the full situation, so if you could send an individual. Actually,
I can certainly send you a briefing, sir.
I'll do you one better. I'll send my number one. She can deal with the logistics and help get your first-hand accounts.
All right, sir.
There is a talk on the comm from the Avalon as which you can kind of see probably the lieutenant. Captain, the other vessel is gone. The Romulan vessel? No, the other one. There is no saline at the Judicator. It probably has technology that allows it to not be seen and has since disappeared and left.
It seems our friend is a bit shy. I'll have to introduce you to him later.
Well, 5 minutes, Commander?
Absolutely. We'll be ready for you.
Alright.
As soon as the communication cuts, I'll just say, Alec has sort of like a half smile on his face, and I'll say, "Commander, permission to receive the arriving officer."
You seem to have taken a shine to this particular escort duty.
Old friend of mine from our academy days.
She gives him a warm smile and a nod of understanding. Bring her to the ready room.
Yes, Commander. I'll make my way down to the transporter room. I assume that's where she's coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before he steps onto the just a half a second before he gets on the turbo lift. And Lieutenant,
Yes, Commander.
you can take your time.
Will do, Commander. And then the doors close.
Mm-hmm. With a ship with 6 decks, this turbo lift venture is very fast. It's not traveling through a galaxy class. But the transporter room as definitely when she arrives is posture is somewhat rigid, but relaxes a moment after beaming and looks a little bit surprised that you are here. Well, this is a surprise.
Well, who'd have thought I'd be seeing you here on the ass end of the quadrant?
Well, that's perspective. We're pretty near the solar system.
It's kind of what I was talking about. And I'll just sort of smile and go in for a hug.
Yeah, she'll reciprocate.
I'll step back and say, "Look at you, Commander."
Yeah, it's so much work.
I do not envy you.
Urbina class vessel, crew 800. I have to keep track of 800 people.
Whew, yeah. But come on. It is a little bit what you wanted, though, right?
I mean, yes, sort of, but for my first assignment, it has been the captain's different, is a way to put it.
Huh. Different how? I'll just sort of like gesture to like out of the transporter room as we like sort of go walk the halls. Do a little walk and talk.
Mm-hmm. One would think by the book, and that's true, but only when the book seems to be beneficial. And other times, protocol is thrown completely out the window.
Yeah, I mean, I guess different works, different as a descriptor here. Putting you through your paces, then I guess.
Yeah, for an old guy, he runs fast.
Well, it is really good to see you, Anna.
Yeah, it's been 2 years at this point.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, I think they're probably busy right now, but we do have a one Commander Tate Mahone here.
That name doesn't ring a bell.
Well, I think the well, you might know them previously as Kadan. It's Kadan's new host.
I am so very sorry for that new host.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said too. But no, I mean they're great. They've hell of a helmsman.
And you're fitting in here, or this temporary station till you find a different calling?
I think Alex's face very, very like almost imperceptibly, sort of like his smile sort of like freezes for a moment, and then he kind of, I'm not sure. Still kind of feeling it out. I was recruited by, well, I was recruited off of Starbase One, and uh, I don't know. Not sure about the fit yet.
Well, I myself won't be aboard the USS Avalon for very much longer either, so. Been
I think. Oh, sorry.
been a interesting and educational years, but
Yeah,
mm,
gotta move onward and upward. Alec is going to basically. There's going to be like a very uncomfortable silence that I think passes for a while. Um,
what's on your mind, Alec? You're doing that thing again.
didn't realize I had a thing.
You kind of have a stare off into space sort of thing happen. You squint your eyes just a little bit.
I don't squint my eyes.
Really? Can you tell?
Alec will just sort of like look at her, smirk, and she's like, I don't know. I don't squint my eyes.
Okay.
Say, no, it's nothing. Just future's never been a comfortable topic for me.
No. No. And this may be me overstepping my bounds to your commanding officer, and something to consider. I would like you to look into, on your own free time of course, look into something called Project Full Circle.
I've never heard of it.
I hate you right now.
I don't imagine you would, but that's where I'm being transferred to one of those vessels.
Huh. Is this, I mean, should I be worried or?
Maybe, we'll see. Anyways, let's talk to your commander first.
Real comforting. And
You can't be the only mysterious one, Alex. Sometimes I need to gloat in my own mystique.
Alec will laugh, but there is certainly something about it that feels just the slightest bit forced. And as they sort of arrive on, are we going to the bridge or?
The conference room is on the
Ready
bridge
room.
and past it, so ready room.
Oh, ready room. Okay.
Ready room.
All right. So as we enter the ready room, I'll say, Commander Jaloran, may I introduce Commander Anna Lee of the USS Avalon.
Jaloran smiles warmly at the commander. Good to meet you, Commander.
Likewise.
She does not extend a hand.
Commander Lee makes the motion and sees that you don't, and then just kind of stops, and there is that like awkward half-second pace of like, okay.
Not the only one on this ship who avoids touch.
So, I'm here to collect a personal account and debrief.
Takes a moment to register, but she had her hands behind her back, and she brings them around forward, and she brings up a pad. So it was like a convenient excuse for why she didn't immediately reach out, and passes it over to Commander Lee.
She kind of flips and scans through the pad a little bit. pre-warp society. Right. This is
We
going
did
to
our
be...
best.
Oh, I don't blame your crew at all, but this is going to be a mess to clean up. Federation Internal Affairs is going to...
Have a field day. I
Yes.
understand.
Okay. The captain's gonna love this. And... I briefly discussed this with your lieutenant, but she has a pad of her own and handed it over just for your own review.
She nods and accepts the pad.
At the end of the day, I would like it to be up to them.
Of course.
For the time being, I don't exactly wish to go right back to Captain Raxium right away, because, as I said, he's a handful. There's a mess hole on this ship, right, Alec?
Yes.
Is there? I actually don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. There is. I can take you there.
Perfect, we can do a little bit of catching up and see if my insight hasn't failed me.
I imagine with the adrenaline wearing off, you must be starved.
It is one of those things where the adrenaline is wearing off a little bit, and because I've had that happen where the adrenaline kicks and it wears off, and it's like, oh, hungry forever now.
Every status at once.
Yeah, she gives Alec an encouraging nod to go find something to eat with Anna.
Alec.
Unless you need something, Lieutenant?
Later, maybe, Commander. Maybe when we're not in the middle of an incident.
We can certainly make time for later.
All right, Commander, let me show you a fine dining experience aboard the Hypatia.
I hear the pancakes are absolutely wonderful.
Sure, if we can pull back from that.
Incredible callback.
Actually, speaking of which, at the sickbay, the chief medical officer is kind of going over a few things with you, Ensign Loris, as she looks over some of your file and looks at you and looks at the Bajoran patient that is kind of in a much better state of mind, physically and mentally. So, Ensign, I do believe this was your first outing?
Yep. It was pretty much that.
So, I will apologize for the next little bit of information I am going to give you, as you will likely not always be aboard the Hypatia, and likely will be on the ground and in the field.
I understand that. It's,
This dose of reality is going to be a little brutal, but it has to be honest. You are in the medical field. You are in a combative medical field. You will do your best to save people under the line of fire. And no matter how hard you try, at some point, someone is going to die on your watch. It hasn't happened today. It might not happen for months or years, but it will happen, and you will have to fortify your mind and your spirit for when that day happens.
Okay, listen, it's a no disrespect situation, but I kinda got over it when I was like, 10, 12? It's yeah, people are gonna die on my hands. It's kind of yeah.
There
I
is. She kind of just grins a little bit and like pats you on the like. She kind of has to reach up a little bit and pat you on the shoulder a little bit.
She kind of leans forward. Yeah, she's tall. She knows that.
I can promise you, Ensign, you haven't had that day yet. So,
Yeah. Listen, I get it. It's really nice of you to give me the sort of birds and the bees talk for medics, but you know, I'm fine. It's not exactly the thing. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of compassion for the fellow man, and I would never like let a person I can help die. But I don't form this much of a personal connection with a person I see for the first time in my life. And I've learned to accept deaths. It's just how it goes. You love someone one day, and the next day they're just gone. It's tough. It's not pretty. It's not. It's not great. And pains. But you just gotta punch forward, I guess. So it's a life. Listen, I know you're really used to dealing with people who just came from the studying simulations and such, but seriously, look at me. Let's just trust that I can handle this,
I
and I'm a tough woman.
I can trust that you're a tough woman. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
computer lights and the sickbay lights dim. I'm going to take a rest in my quarters now, and you should get some rest yourself, Ensign. She.
Like I can, with this entire thing going around us, it's kind of exciting actually. I mean, it's extremely dangerous. We're all gonna fucking die. I mean, sorry, we're pretty much gonna die. But you know, exciting.
There is.
Especially
She
since
just. As you're kind of going on this tangent a little bit, she stares back at you before exiting out the door and just very quietly looks you up and down, nods a little bit, and then her parting words are just, "You and Dr. McCoy would have gotten along," and then exits.
she kind of blinks. Okay, let's just hope I'm not being compared to a corpse. Cool, fucking cool. Let's
Oh, I love her.
Okay, next time, just 2 words. 2 word sentences, yes. And she's kind of just marches out of the place.
Okay. Provide, what are you doing at this point in time here?
Trying to pull themselves together best they can. They've once things are calmed down a little bit, I think they are taking to monitoring the situation from the side, but also they're probably journaling or writing, something like that.
Okay. Alright, probably within the mess hall at this point. There is various bits of the Hypatia crew, and this mess hall isn't large. It's a Nova class mess hall, and it's a little bit smaller than a normal Nova, because this Nova's interior is a bit smaller and weirder. Commander Annalie is impressed by this mess hall only because the, like, food replicator situation here. More impressive than her vessel, honestly.
Joanne would have made sure they were top notch.
What?
You're stationed on a Nova class. This is an A2 Mark 33 replicator. This is aboard new star bases.
What can I say? The commander likes her midnight snacks.
Absolutely.
What can I say? The commander likes pancakes.
You know, midnight pancakes are the best.
Yeah, those are not mutually
Honestly.
exclusive
God, you guys
statements.
are making me so
Honestly,
hungry.
yeah.
As she is going through and. Okay. So, are you going to make me ask, or are you going to dance around the topic?
Well, I'd love to get right down to brass tacks, but I don't know what you're talking about.
About where you feel you are at this current point, Alec.
Anna, you know I don't like talking to you about this.
I know. But where are you gonna go right now?
Well,
You
that
realize I
would be
was
that.
also. I trained for counseling before command, right?
I know. It's one of the things that makes you so irritating. I'm Look, I signed up for the academy because I thought it's what my parents expected of me. And then at the academy, I read about all the exploits of the greats, you know? And I got excited and I thought maybe I could find a place for myself here within Starfleet. I mean, if that's what it was going to be like out here, then maybe I could find a place for myself in there. But when I got my first posting, it was nothing like what we'd read about. Nothing like anything that Kirk did. If I ever got assigned, I mean, mostly it was just busting ensigns who were bringing contraband onto the ship and escorting scientists while they picked up rocks. It's not what I thought it would be. So now I'm here, taking up space.
Like, everyone takes up space, and they all have. That is a feeling that everyone has. You know what that's called, right?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
As mild as it is, Alec, you have a bit of what I think is a bit of imposter syndrome.
No, see, that's not it. I know that I'm good at this. I know that I can do these things. It's just I'm not sure it's what I want to be doing.
Well, maybe it's time to consider other options. There are certainly other places in Starfleet that could use someone of your talents. And vessels that need more unorthodox approaches to things.
You know, I do appreciate that. I really do. But I just have this feeling like if I don't find my way on my own, if I don't figure it out for myself, if I could let you talk me into something, I could let you guide me, steer me in the right direction, but if I did that, I mean, isn't that basically what I did when I signed up for the academy? Just following somebody else's idea for what a good life for me would be? Alec will just sort of will stand up and say, "It's really good to see you, Anna, and I thank you for talking with me. Thanks for trying to help. But you asked me where I was going, where I see myself going, and honestly, that's a question for our helmsman." And Alec will just sort of stand up and leave.
As you kind of exit out, you can pull back to Anna, and she's just kind of nodding a little bit to herself and kind of just light sigh. Nice going, Anna. Dumbass. Alright, well, sure, maybe I can... Transporter room. I'll be there in 2. She gets up and heads out. For Commander Jaloran, what are you doing here?
She's still in her ready room. She's still got that pad. She's already skimmed through it, and she's behind her desk now, and she's pulled out some other pads. She's basically doing her own personal debrief of everything that's just happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was like pulling all kinds of stuff together and getting an assessment of what happened
Yes,
beyond the bridge.
Also the secondary pad that Commander Annalee handed you as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She's looked through that already. It's in front of her, and then she's
Yeah,
got all the other report pads.
the pad obviously describes something known as Project Full Circle.
Yep.
This provides you with a couple of insights that you didn't previously have, Commander. More particularly, your cousin didn't tell you anything about this.
Which is why she is kind of distracting herself a little bit with some of the other pads. She's a little peeved.
Mm-hmm. As you... one second. One second. Yeah, there is, as you kind of go through a little bit, going through the pads, and out of the corner of your eye, a blue-white flash. As there is a very distinct voice that you have at least heard of this being. Well, I think that went swimmingly, all things considered.
What? No introduction?
Oh, well, I would assume at this point that you of wider little beings are aware of moi.
Naturally, Q. And she just sits back and gives him a grin.
You have created quite the waves. As you know, humanity has to be tested every now and again.
So I take it it's my turn?
Well, one day. There is time to study up. Quick snap of his fingers, and there is just a flash and gone again.
Don't underestimate my studiousness, Q. She goes back to her pads.
Mm-hmm. We will cut a couple days later into the future as you have the Hypatia is back at Earth Space Dock, and all of you are officially within the Sol Atlantic field office. It's fully
we're
staffed at
leaving
this point.
the pancake maker behind.
The office is fully staffed at this point. As your office, Jordan, and everything extra within this has been completed. Every individual that works has their own lab or facility or desk that they work at.
There is unfinished business.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything any of the rest of you would like to do in these last 20-ish minutes here?
Oh, sorry.
Like I said,
I do have something, but like I've also been very like there's a lot of focus has been over here for a while. So if somebody else has something, definitely go first.
Mm-hmm.
well, my unfinished business has to do with the dear lieutenant.
Oh, cool. Well, well then.
Because there's a certain living situation that needs to be dealt with. She has not forgotten about that.
Yep.
What were you thinking of?
Oh no, like that's my thing also had to do with the commander, so it works out.
So let's open up the floor to our other two here, Kavai
Yeah.
and Mira.
Ryan, Mira, is there anything that the two of you wish to do in these last few minutes here?
Funny you should say that. I also had an idea with Alec.
I'm
And
gonna go
Jalorn-
last.
Yeah, and Jalorn does want a little bit of a one-on-one with Kavai. So there's two there.
All right.
But that can get... We can either do that now or we can push it off until next time we meet.
I'm down for anything.
Okay.
What'd you say, Mira? I didn't quite catch it.
I think she said she'll go last on this.
Oh, I do have to get into the group somehow, because currently she's been really distant with everyone.
Yeah, that's
So,
yeah, she'll I mean, you're pretty much stationed within the command team now, so you are
yeah, I
in close proximity at this point.
gotta make connections, because right now everyone just feel like her two eyes, which one of them is like really dark and doesn't look natural, so it's kind of creepy, just staring at them
Mm-hmm.
from the corner. Like she's trying to think out a way to like approach without trying to look or sound menacing or anything. And she kind of wanted to, but then everything got very chaotic and she didn't get the chance. So now she's like, so how do I do that?
The Dr. Olivia Bryn is kind of watching you do this, like kind of figuring out. It's like, and if you forget, she is portrayed by Sigourney Weaver. She just kind of takes you by the arm. And she's way stronger than you would even give her credit for. All right, kid. Here's how we make this a little less awkward for you. Follow me, and she is kind of leading you, but also kind of forcing you to follow a little bit.
She doesn't want to look like a kid who's being kind of forcefully dragged into kindergarten, so she's just trying to match the pace, walking beside her like she isn't like getting pulled by the arm.
Kind of goes up to the command team floor. Well, you're gonna be up here a lot. As she kind of steps back a few paces, you should get familiarized with the surroundings up here, and some of the individuals that work up here kind of figure out what they like and dislike, form a connection. As she backs into the turbo lift and just gone.
I've had friends like that.
Magnificent traitor. Gonna mumble to herself and like, greetings.
Juno kind of pops out of existence. Hello.
Oh, God did not. I. Yes, I did in school. Okay, yeah, well, nice to meet you all. I am, Mira, and I am medical. You know this, and I...
File.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. So, yes, I'm pretty much here to get to know everyone since we're a team.
I believe the commander will be out of their office. They are currently engaged in varied conversation.
No, understandable. I'm not trying to be rushed or anything. I'm just, since nobody's hurt and I have no more maintenance to do.
Juno kind of listens, but this is a good time as the varied conversations. How do you wish these conversations, Kavai, Alec, and Jaloran, to take place? Together, separately?
Probably separately.
Okay. I think it makes the most sense for Kavai and Alec first.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Alec is just in the overnight room with a pad on his knee, just sort of like looking through, kind of going back over like a lot of the mission logs that up from this like last mission, just sort of going over some of like the like security personnel, like their performance and that kind of stuff, and just sort of like looking it over, and then just sort of looking over some of the stats of like the like basically ship strengths, weaknesses, where it performed well, where it didn't, and that kind of stuff. Like just trying to familiarize himself with some of these things.
Okay.
And I think would you in the overnight rooms, is it like open plan? Like what's the layout like?
They're like single bedroom, think like a single bedroom like motel
dormitory,
room, but dormitory,
yeah.
motel room.
Okay.
They're really small though.
Door open or closed?
Open, I think, yeah.
Okay. You would get this like scene of Kavai passing by, like kind of like peeking in and then back out. This happens like a couple times.
Like walking back and forth in the hallway.
Yeah, of just like, do I go in? Do I not go in? Do I go in? Do I not go in? And I think at like the third time, it's probably like very noticeable, and then you just see her walk out again.
Yeah. As the next time that she passes by, Alec, without looking up, is going to say, You're gonna wear a hole in the brand new deck plating.
She claps her hands together in front of her face. And it's just like, um, hmm, yes. Hello,
Can I help you with something?
yes, I needed to apologize
Oh, come on in.
for.
I sort of like gesture inside, and there's like I sort of assume there's like a desk with a chair somewhere in
There
there.
is. It's
Okay.
not large.
Yeah, Alex is sitting on the edge of the bed and just sort of gestures to the chair.
She'll walk over, sort of look at it, think about sitting, and remain standing.
Mhm.
Eyes on the floor, very much, her normally vibrant green is very dull. Looks like she's been dreading this for like a couple days, and like you would notice she's been studiously avoiding you up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to apologize for anything you may have overheard.
I'll sort of look up for the first time, sort of setting the pad aside and say, I mean, apology accepted. I'm not sure, well, Alec won't say much more than that. He'll just say, yeah, I mean, apology accepted. He'll hesitate for a while, then go, was there anything else?
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't realize I was muted. She'll meet your gaze at this point and sort of try to more or less like read your demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
if possible.
Yeah. I think Alec will sort of clock that and just he'll kind of smile and just say, look, everybody's got their thing, their secrets. And, my job, especially here, my job is to find out some of those secrets, sure, but mostly my job is to make sure that nobody here is a threat to the team, to Starfleet, and to the Federation. And after that, it's really none of my business. I know, strange thing for an intelligence officer to say, but
She has this look of like, actually, you would pick it up from her. It's a wave of like guilt. Eyes back on the floor, her ears even kind of droop a little, her shoulders completely sag, and it looks like she's been carrying the weight of the world.
Oh no.
Alec will just say, that chair, I'm almost positive it won't bite.
Kind of nods and sits down automatically.
Yeah. And look, I said it's none of my business, and I stand by that. But
Shakes her head.
from my experience, these sorts of close quarters, working together situation, they tend to run smoother if people feel that they can talk to one another. Now, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying it's important that you feel you can.
She nods. I have a. I. I have a confession to make.
All right.
I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm not one of you.
Imposter among us.
How do you mean?
I so badly want to be like Commander Jaloran suddenly summons her and leave Alec hanging on that.
Oh my god. Yes, do it.
Do it. Do it.
Give him another bone to gnaw on and become that investigator. It's like, hold on a second. Wait, what?
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
I think if she does get paged, like, you just get, like, her face just, like, completely, like, just blank and frozen, and she doesn't respond to that page. Like, she just looks at Alec and is just like, oh god, help. What do I do? Completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. It's like she's gotten the page. It's like Jaloran wants to see her.
Oh, this is so funny.
Oh, it's delightful. I love it so much.
I'll just sort of lean back and just say, well, another time then.
His heart's so calm.
Okay.
Robotically stiff, she will leave the room, taking her panic with her.
Kavai, you know how to get to Jaloran's office, and it's only going up a couple of floors on this elevator. It's not a turbo elevator, it's an elevator, but it feels like a fucking eternity.
Oh, so much longer.
As you are able to find your way into the commander's office.
I'm curious if we can do a quick roll. Like, how perceptive is Kavai right now?
Oh, she is like, her nerves are shattered. She's not thinking about her surroundings. She's all inward.
Okay, so a roll would probably be pointless.
Probably.
She's not gonna notice this right off the bat. And it's like, Jaloran's at her desk for the moment, and it's like she's looking at her pad, and she's clearly finessing a something and trying to send it off.
Mm-hmm.
But she nods as Kavai comes in. It may take Kavai a moment or two to recognize that one of the gestures that Jaloran is making is towards the wall. It's like she's trying to direct Kavai's attention to the wall with the display screen on it.
She'll look towards it. Any sort of like feeling you get from her is like almost this like vague. I don't want to say like disassociation, but like it's a weird vibe you're getting off her.
Jaloran is oddly unaffected by Kavai.
Ooh, this is interesting.
So it's like she's able to clock it, but she does not respond to it at all. So it's like, so from Kavai's perspective, there's like, Jaloran is being Jaloran. There's nothing off about her behavior. There's no hesitation, nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like she's being affected at all by her.
What's on the wall?
It may take Kavai a second or two, but there's 2 columns of information on the wall. It's like the display is showing lines of code. And with her panic, it'll probably take her another minute or two. And Jaloran's kind of banking on this a little bit because she's finishing off something. But Kavai would recognize it. It's her code.
Oh no.
It's code that she used to hack into the Hypatia, and the code that she used to hack through the Vice Admiral's lock to get into classified information.
I think you just get this very soft. Oh.
And as she continues to look at it, she'll start to notice there's annotations on the code.
Red line!
Very much like a
That's-
teacher making
that's-
corrections to a student.
So good.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
This is great. That sounds great.
From behind Kavai, there's a soft... Do you remember what I told you about asking for assistance with doors, Kavai?
Yes, Commander.
Oh my god.
She sets the pad down on the table. I believe I've finessed enough of an explanation so that I won't get into a great deal of trouble for breaking into a Vice Admiral's classification. But that aside, you have a great deal of potential here.
I think like that sort of breaks her out of it for a second. She just like laughs a little bit. Just that sort of like awkward like oh. Am I not in trouble? Trouble?
No. But I do want to make it clear. You have those pips on your collar because of me. I know how you got onto my ship.
It was an accident.
I know it was. But I like your work. Which is why you're still here. I've sent these to you. You'll find them on your pad. I want you to study them. And I'll continue to send you exercises.
She kind of looks down at her pad, looks back up, back down again. Kind of not like fully clicked in yet, but getting there.
You're part of my crew now, Kavai. You'll stay here as long as you need to. But as long as you're here, we'll both make sure you continue to improve. Including asking for help when you need it.
I think at that Kavai would like you just see tears streaming down her face. And you just hear very, very softly, Starfleet's everything I ever read about.
Oh.
Aww.
Then let me officially welcome you to Starfleet, Petty Officer. Ah! Onwards and upwards, yes?
Yes, Commander.
I suggest you get back down to your lab and get to studying. There's more exercises waiting down there for you.
Yes. And she'll full on like bow and leave with like almost a little bit more of a jaunt, but it's purely nervous energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets down to the lab, she will find, indeed, there are a couple more pads with increasing difficulty She wants to see how much she can stretch her brain.
The additional allocating the resources of the forensics officers down there, they have assisted
Utilize!
in that, in creating scenarios as well, both that are in pressure, like of lightly, light stakes to more heavy stakes. The holographic lab down there means they can replicate scenarios of varying degrees.
And there's also, on another pad that she finds, there's also a copy of, like, the standard manual that every Starfleet cadet would receive. So, and it's got various sections highlighted for Kavai to, in particular, pay attention to.
Everything she would have gotten in actual training. Perfect.
Yes. As you were going through those exercises, rather than being called up, I think we can skip to that portion and just have both Alec and Jaloran be within the office, and I do believe this will be our last scene for the night.
Yeah, I was going to say at this point, I think definitely, if it had been at any other time, I think Alec would have waited, but I think Alec would actually come to see Jaloran.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaloran is clearly waiting for him.
Yeah. Alex steps in. Moment of your time, Commander.
She gestures to the chair across from her desk.
He'll sit in it and just say, it's a hell of a first mission for this branch.
Certainly was. We stretched our legs pretty well, I think.
Yeah, our legs, our shields, nerves.
But I think in the end, we pulled it off really well. What do you think?
I agree. It's a real top-notch team you've put together here, Commander.
That includes you. You understand that, right?
I know I'm good at what I do. There's definitely a very calculated, that's a very calculated statement, and it's extremely obvious that it is.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't quite believe it.
No, I know what I can do. It's kind of what I wanted to talk with you about.
Go on.
Well, Commander, I find myself conflicted. See, when I was recruited for intelligence, I thought I was being pulled off of, well, effectively a remote desert island, as far as postings go. Starbase 1 isn't exactly the place that you get sent when you have startling career opportunities ahead of you. And I grabbed onto the life raft. But I'm trying to think of how to explain this. For most of my time in Starfleet, I never really found a fit. And I'm not sure. I'm growing more and more worried that maybe it's because there isn't one. And that maybe this is not where I'm supposed to be. I mean, I've seen them, the cadets at the academy, both while I was there and since. I've served with them. You know the ones that I'm talking about, right? The ones who
Absolutely.
the ones who come in here, they know exactly what they want to do and they set their sights laser focused on it and they work their asses off to get there. And sometimes they just don't. You know, it's not their fault. It's just there was a better candidate, or any number of other circumstances. And the thing that I just can't square, Commander, and I've never been able to do, is what right I have, being so unsure of my path, to take up a spot that somebody like that has worked so hard for.
Perhaps what you need is somebody to take a chance on you.
Well, see, that's where the conflict comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I've been for a really long time. Except this mission. First mission out. That is the Starfleet that I always wanted to see. That's the Starfleet, the part of Starfleet that I always wanted to be involved in. I wanted to be where things are happening, where people are doing things, where there are discoveries being made, and dangerous situations are being navigated, and people are being protected, whether they know it or not. Although I guess they kind of do know it now. What I'm saying is, at another time in my life, at another time in my career during Starfleet, I think this would have been the thing that set me on the path, where I would have been, yes, this does exist. But if anything, Commander, I'm at a loss because I think this just makes me even more unsure. Does that make any sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's taking you a long time to get here. Longer than average. So do you keep going? Or do you step away?
Yeah.
Do you want to know why I recruited you?
I'm not sure.
That's why I'm asking. Do you want to know why?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Saw a particular pattern of behavior that fits very well with this department. I believe you kept some young ensigns in line at some point.
They like to smuggle booze sometimes. Nothing major.
For the average security officer, not exactly exciting. What I'm looking at is underneath that. The means how you went about it. How you figured out that they were doing smuggling. How you figured out the process of it. Putting all those pieces together. And then in this last mission, you put some more pieces together to help us figure out that there was a Romulan out there. You're an investigator, Lieutenant. That's what I need for my team. That's why I recruited you. Are you willing to give this place a shot for 6 months, at least?
Alec just sort of seems to kind of chew on that for a moment. And then he'll just sort of look up. Yeah. I think so.
You'll be in charge of security. You'll be my chief security officer. So you'll make sure that these security people are on the top of their game.
Whoa, Commander. Command isn't exactly... I mean, putting me in charge of... It's not exactly my strong suit.
You need to push the envelope at some point. And you've got support behind you. You have Lieutenant Commander Hone And you have me. Anybody questions what you say, feel free to point them to me. I will back you up every step of the way. And if it helps, I can send you manuals from other great security chiefs throughout the years. You can study up on those. But I'm confident you can handle the job. I will also send you some manuals on basic investigative techniques and increasing in difficulty.
All right. I mean, if that's what you think is best, Commander, then I'll do my best to serve in that capacity.
We'll learn and grow together, Lieutenant. How does that sound?
Well, sounds a lot more patient and a lot more lenient than any other commander I've served under.
I'm under the impression that most of your commanders didn't really understand you. That's what I would like to do. I would like to understand you. And I see something there that most others haven't. I think this investigative skill of yours has been completely underutilized. I want to see where you can go with that.
You know, Commander, I think I do too.
We have one more question to settle.
Of course.
She turns some pads around on her desks and slides them towards him. You need to pick one.
Sort of look down and kind of like lean over and look at the pads.
On the surface, they all look to be basically the same thing. They're all very similar design, one-bedroom apartments. And they're all conveniently located to appeal to his security training sensibilities. The main difference between them is location, thereby providing different views out the window. So it becomes clear that she isn't quite sure what kind of view he would like to have.
I think he doesn't really look at them. He just looks at them enough to figure out what they are. So, oh, Commander,
You will not be staying in the overnight rooms, Lieutenant. That is non-negotiable. You need a place of your own.
With respect, Commander, I understand that the overnight rooms aren't exactly an option. I chose them because they're close to the beating heart of this whole thing. It allows me to keep my finger on the pulse, as it were. Not to mention, I've mostly grown up on starships and star bases, and it makes me feel more comfortable. I've always been more comfortable in a dorm or bunk situation. It helps me keep my head on straight.
She leans over and she scoots a couple of pads out of the way and brings one to center. And it sounds like this one will work.
I'll sort of take a look at it.
It's like just like all the others. It's a one-bedroom apartment, but this one is like 2 blocks maybe from headquarters. It's literally less than 5-minute walk from the building. So the view outside the window is a typical cityscape view, but it's precisely what he wants. It's really close to the beating heart of headquarters. And it's also one of those where it comes like what they've advertised at this point in day, and it's pre-furnished. He doesn't have to worry about picking out furniture. It's got all the amenities in it already, so he doesn't have to decorate beyond.
Sure.
Well, he doesn't have to decide on decor unless he wants to.
I think for a moment after he looks at it, he looks like he's going to fight this, but then he just sort of sighs. He says, well, when thing I learned in Starfleet is growing up, I mean, when nowhere's home, anywhere's home. So this will work, Commander.
If you decide a little bit later you would rather have a different spot, these other apartments will continue to be available. But for now, you're going to need a place where you can settle and be away and learn how to relax. It's going to be rough being around this building 24/7. We all need a place to get away and decompress for a little bit, even if it's only for 6 hours and crash on the bed.
God, if that is in a fucking mood.
Alec will nod and stand, hesitate for a moment, and then just take the pad. Say,
The security
fair
codes
enough.
are already set up for you, so you won't have to worry about that.
Thank you, Commander.
You're
If there's
welcome.
nothing else, I have an exceptionally tiny amount of moving to do.
And try to get some rest too, all right?
I'll do my best.
Alright. Exiting the office, we are going to do something here as we've hit the end of this arc, and at the end of every
Actually,
arc, continue.
Hold on, real quick. As I'm leaving the office, just real quick, as I see like Mira sitting somewhere, just like in passing, I'll be like, Ensign, you did good out there.
Yeah. Thank you a lot. Yeah.
I'll just say, keep it up.
Got- Did my mic just turn on? Great.
No, we heard you.
Thankfully.
No, we heard you.
We heard you. The mute button stayed on though. Like the mute, like I don't know what
Yeah.
that was. Discord was discording.
Yeah, but we heard you.
Technology.
No, you're good.
Alec will just smile and nod and just kind of keep walking through the office. And yeah, that's it. That was the only other thing.
Okay. With
So
that being the case,
sweet.
then, like I said, we have hit the end of this arc, and at the end of every like 3-part arc or 2-parter that happens, something's gonna happen. We're gonna do a little bit of a, shall we say, after credits and fast forward in time,
Ooh. Oh boy.
depending on who is still here at this time in various areas of the Madrid field office, or looking on their pads, or looking at a news station. Particularly in the Seoul Atlantic field office, it's dull and kind of red alert status. There are people acting in chaos. There's orders being shouted by different intelligence teams. Bring this up on the monitor, or get me a report immediately. Have we heard from San Francisco? Tell me, and other people, like, what the hell is going on? We can cut
Lieutenant Karabaya would be in in the thick of that, as settling in as chief security.
potentially. With that being said, Lauren, you are in the MTAG room, and you are looking at Mars Fleet Yard. The date above reads April 5th, 2385. And you can see up in another lower corner, you can see a number, 9,822. And then it jumps up, and continues to jump up, and continues to jump up. But with that being the case, we are peacing out for the night. However, I want this to be known. There will be no session next week, as people have lives and things come up, and that's okay. But for
People have lives, and now we have to end them. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Ending on a dark note. Just going out dark.
okay,
Yeah,
but
that's how it goes.
but for all of you, as always, even if it was for a little bit of time, we truly hope for the night and the evening we have been a peaceful and healthy dose of R&R. Good night.